Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm back from my follow-up review video on the BlackBerry Evolve. Now the BlackBerry Evolve, like I mentioned before, was made under the licensing agreement that was extended to Optiemus over in India. So I thought that this phone was actually fairly widespread in India, and I had a lot of people in the comments saying that this phone didn't exist or they had never seen one of them. So apparently it really wasn't very widespread over there, and I guess it wasn't, I don't know, maybe Optiemus didn't do a whole lot of follow through with the licensing agreement for this BlackBerry device because it was announced in August of 2018 and the last security update was November of 2018. It's still stuck on Android 8.1, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I do want to get into it and talk about the phone, talk about some of the specs, talk about some of the features, and a little bit about how well it runs and all that good stuff. So before we dive in and take a look at the Evolve, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get updates on the latest videos. Now, let's look at the BlackBerry Evolve. All right, first things first, it's got a 4,000 milliamp battery with a Snapdragon 450. Now, you're probably not going to be too impressed with the 450. Even in 2018, I don't really think that the 450 was all that impressive. Considering the BlackBerry mobile devices made under TCL, they had 6 series Snapdragons, and then the Evolve X that apparently never came out, at least to my knowledge, had a Snapdragon 660. So this was supposed to be about $365 American. Not very expensive, kind of a budget tier offering, and it gave you a little bit of the BlackBerry experience, but in the Android world. You got dual 13 megapixel cameras, a fingerprint sensor on the back. You got this cool little BlackBerry logo inside the dimpled rubberized texture on the back. I actually kind of like the form factor. It's a sleek looking phone. I'm not going to knock them off any points for the design on the phone because it does look cool. You got the headphone jack up top. It's got a USB-C charger on the bottom with the downward firing speaker. It actually has facial recognition technology, which is surprising. They did a good job with that. You've got a 5.99 or 6-inch LCD screen on the front with the little BlackBerry logo down here in the bottom. Power buttons, volume rocker on the side. It doesn't have a convenience key or anything like we're traditionally used to with the BlackBerries here in America, but you can see here side by side with the BlackBerry Motion that there are some fundamental differences here. You can see, of course, the convenience key on the right-hand side there, and then the carbon fiber look on the back of the Motion versus this dimpled rubberized texture on the back of the Evolve. But overall, I mean, they're about the same size, but still, you can see that both companies took a completely different direction with them. And yeah, the performance on this is surprisingly, I mean, it's not terrible for a 450, but here we are in May of 2020, like I said. We're not really using anything in a 4 series and a Snapdragon here anymore, pretty much anywhere really. There was a short time frame where there was a bunch of Android One devices that were popping up. Nokia made several, and the whole Android One concept was nice. It's not on here, of course, but they were a lot of smaller phones with Snapdragon 4 series processors. So the keyboard, it's got the BlackBerry Android keyboard, the same thing that was licensed over, just like the one that was on BlackBerry 10 devices, like on the Z10 and the Z30. So you got that. You can swipe back on the home screen on the keyboard there, and it'll erase the text. You can type on it. It's got the predictive swipe text. So really cool. It's really interesting seeing a lot of these elements of BlackBerry 10, which is referenced in the keyboard, and then of course you've got the hub and all that stuff on here. But it really is kind of underpowered for the hub, especially with the Snapdragon 450 processor. The camera on here, honestly, is probably one of the worst that I've ever seen in an Android phone, even for something from 2018. I took this selfie picture here with Ideal. I've got studio lighting in here, and it just turned out poorly. I was out walking around outside. I snapped some pictures, and you can see they're just really not very good when it comes to taking pictures. Not that that's something that BlackBerry's ever really been known for, but at the same time, I would have expected a little bit better. I mean, but $365, unlocked phone back in 2018. I mean, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but they definitely, I think, could have done a little bit better. The fingerprint sensor on the back is cool. It's not the fastest in the world, but it works just like the facial recognition technology. It's a simple facial scanner. It's nothing that has the crazy secure biometrics or anything like a Face ID sensor you would have on Apple. You can play some games on it. Just to show for illustration purposes, I went ahead and I pulled up Mario Kart on here. It will play it, surprisingly, because it didn't run at 100% on the Snapdragon 625 and the BlackBerry Key 1. So I was curious how it would hold up on this 450 series Snapdragon and the Evolve. It's playable, but it's really not that great. I mean, if you don't have another option and you really want to have a BlackBerry, you can play some games on there. You can play like Boom Beach, some other stuff that's not too graphics intensive. You can get away with it. Battery life is phenomenal. It'll last you all day long. The 4,000 milliamp battery with the 4 gigabytes of RAM combined with this full HD 1080p screen, it'll last you all day long. No problems there whatsoever. And it doesn't have wireless charging. It doesn't have the other crazy stuff. Surprisingly, it's Gorilla Glass 5, which was interesting to me whenever I saw that. So that was kind of cutting edge back in 2018. But otherwise, it's just, I mean, it's an okay phone. And yeah, I think if BlackBerry pushed this a little bit more, maybe put a little bit more into the camera and the processor, it might would have done really well. A lot of people really, really loved the BlackBerry Motion. Yeah, it was limited as well, made by the TCL license agreement. But yeah, I guess it just wasn't marketed very well, and there weren't a whole lot that were mass produced. This one, even less than that. So the way that it looks, the way that it feels, you got this nice 6-inch screen. You can use it for Twitter. You can use it for typing, browsing, stuff like that, apps. It's not the fastest thing that I've ever used in my life, but overall, I mean, it's okay. And at $365, I think that most people's expectations wouldn't have been very high, because it really is a productivity and it's for like work and efficiency and things like that. That's what BlackBerry is known for. They're not known for being a gaming device. They're not known for being a Pixel for taking pictures. So yeah, I think that were this more widely released, a lot of people might have hopped on board, but it was kind of dead on arrival. It never got any support. It was never really marketed. It was never really sold anywhere. So maybe Optiemus just kind of saw the writing on the wall and didn't want to invest in it after they'd already had the initial release for this and the Evolve X, hence the Evolve X never coming out. But anyway, that's all I've got on the BlackBerry Evolve. Interesting, unique phone, 2 years old now. I don't know where you can find these things. I paid for this one. I got it on Amazon. I paid like 128 bucks. You can check around on eBay, resale markets. I'm not really sure where they might have this overseas in Asia, India, places like that. But they don't make them or sell them brand new at carriers anymore, so you're just going to have to try your best to try and find one. But neat little phone. Glad I have it for my collection, and glad I was able to put this video together for you guys. So if you have any questions on it, please feel free to sound off down in the comment section. I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. And yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get updates on the latest videos when they come out. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.